Range gear in OSRS can be a tricky one. It's not just expensive, it's confusing. You've got crossbows that need shields, bows that need specific armor sets, and weapons that cost more than some players' entire banks but only work in certain situations. This isn't about showing off every item in the game. This is about making sure when you do finally save up for that next upgrade, you're buying the right thing. No more wasting money on gear that looks cool but doesn't actually help. And no more wondering if you should save more or buy now. If you want a chance to win the Bond giveaway, be sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video and comment anything you want down below. Maybe let me know how your range progression is going. Let's start where most people begin, free to play. This is honestly a solid foundation even if you're planning to go to members immediately. At 40 range you can rock the full green Dragonhide armor set. Body, chaps and vambraces. Pair this with a coif for your head slot, a maple shortbow and adamant arrows. Throw on an amulet of power and you're set. The Dragonhide body requires 40 defense to wear. If you're building a pure or any restricted account, you can substitute a regular leather body which only needs 1 defense. This setup costs basically nothing and will carry you through the early free to play grind. And the second you become members, everything changes. Alright, let's say that you're members now. Before we talk about any other gear, there's one absolutely critical unlock you need. Ava's devices. Complete the quest Animal Magnetism as soon as possible. This rewards you with Ava's Attractor if you're under 50 range, or Ava's Accumulator if you're above 50. The requirements for Animal Magnetism are fairly low at 35 woodcutting, 30 range, 19 crafting and 18 slayer, plus a few quest prerequisites. These devices go in your cape slot and automatically pick up your ammunition. The Attractor picks up 60% of your ammo while the Accumulator picks up 72%. This is massive for saving money while training. I would say getting this is a non-negotiable. Let's rapid fire through the early upgrades since they're all dirt cheap. Blue Dragonhide at 50 range. Straight upgrade over the green and it's cheap. The magic shortbow is way more accurate than the maple bow and has a special attack. Get the bow imbued by using a magic shortbow scroll on it. This imbued version lets you use amethyst arrows and the special attack only costs 50% instead of 55%. The Amulet of Glory is cheap and it's a huge upgrade over the Power Amulet. Plus you got a couple convenient teleports. The snakeskin boots and snakeskin bandana are basically free small upgrades but every bit counts. The Book of Lore goes in your shield slot and you fill it with Armadyl pages to get range accuracy and prayer bonus. Super useful for your crossbow setups. Here's where ranging splits into 2 weapon categories that you'll use throughout the entire game. Weapons like shortbows, blowpipes and certain special weapons. These are fast attacking weapons you use close up or for general DPS. Then for long range and heavy weapons you have crossbows and certain specialized bows. These are slower but deal heavy range damage and you can use shields. Pick up a rune crossbow. This is your introduction to crossbow gameplay. Pair it with Ruby Bolt's E for the enchanted effect. Ruby Bolts have the chance to deal 20% of the monster's remaining health as damage, capped at 100 damage. This makes them incredible for bossing even at these lower levels. The crossbow being one-handed means you can use the Book of Lore we grabbed earlier for extra accuracy and prayer bonus. Cool, say you've got some cash now. Maybe you've been doing some Barrows, some Slayer, or you flipped your way to a nice cash stack. At 60 range, upgrade to Red Dragonhide. At 70 range, jump to Black Dragonhide. Each tier gives you a +9 range accuracy over the previous tier. Here's something a lot of players skip but shouldn't. Blessed Dragonhide, also called God D'hide. There are 6 variants: Saradomin, Zamarok, Bandos, Armadyl, Ancient, and Guffix. They all have identical stats. Same offensive bonuses as Black D'hide, but better defensive stats and +1 prayer bonus per piece. The different god versions only matter if you're going to the God Wars dungeon. The full set will run you back maybe $500,000, depending on which god you choose. But that prayer bonus adds up and makes a real difference for longer trips. The Dragon Crossbow. This is where crossbows get serious. The Dragon Crossbow itself isn't that much better than the Rune Crossbows statistically, but it lets you use dragon bolts. Dragon bolts have significantly higher range strength than adamant or rune bolts. You can also use any gem tip enchanted dragon bolt, making ruby and dragon bolts way more viable. This is a huge DPS increase. If you haven't already, complete recipe for disaster for the Barrows Gloves. They give plus 12 range accuracy compared to 8 from the combat bracelet. But the real value is being able to use them with melee and ranged. One glove slot for all 3 combat styles is incredibly convenient. These require 175 quest points to obtain, so it's definitely a long-term goal but absolutely worth it. Let's say you've got some serious cash now, and you're ready to invest it in game-changing gear. The toxic Blowpipe is one of the most important range weapons in the entire game. The Blowpipe requires 75 range to use and needs to be charged with Zulrah scales and filled with darts. The Blowpipe attacks every 2 ticks on rapid, making it one of the fastest weapons in the game. Higher tier darts increase your max hit. Amethyst darts are the sweet spot for balancing cost and DPS for most content. The trade-off is that the Blowpipe is fairly inaccurate compared to crossbows. This means it shreds through monsters with low defense, slayer tasks, small bosses, etc. But it struggles against high defense targets. Even against bosses though, if they have lowish defense, the Blowpipe can still be very strong. The special attack costs 50 energy and it boosts your accuracy by 100% and damage by 50%, and heals you for half the damage dealt. Great for emergency healing. It's definitely expensive to use, you're burning through scales and darts, but the speed increase makes it worth every GP. The Necklace of Anguish. This is your first best in slot piece for range. The Necklace of Anguish gives 15% range accuracy and 5% range strength. That range strength is huge. It's the only next slot item in the game with range strength. This translates to a +1 or even +2 max hit depending on your setup. Absolutely worth the investment. The Slayer helmet imbued is a Slayer essential. If you're doing any ranged Slayer, get the imbued Slayer helmet as soon as possible. You imbue it using Nightmare Zone points, Soul Wars and other methods. This gives you massive percentage based damage and accuracy bonuses against your Slayer task. Way better than any regular helmet could provide. The Armadyl Crossbow requires 70 range and costs a lot. It's only slightly better than the Dragon Crossbow, but it's mainly expensive because it's rare and used to make the Zaryte Crossbow. Honestly, this is often skippable. You can go straight from the Dragon Crossbow to our next upgrade if you save a little bit more. But if you're doing a lot of crossbow content like next, it's a solid pickup. If you're planning to camp Vorkarth, do a lot of Chambers of Zaryte, or fight any draconic creatures, the Dragon Hunter Crossbow is incredible. It requires 70 range and gives plus 30% range accuracy and plus 25% range damage, but only against dragons. This thing absolutely destroys Vorkarth, King Black Dragons and Chambers of Zaryte dragon bosses. If you're farming any of these, prioritize this over the Armadyl Crossbow. The Twisted Buckler requires 75 range and 75 defense. It gives plus 18 range accuracy and plus 10 range strength. That range strength is massive, basically like having 2 Anguishes. Obviously you can use this with one-handed weapons, but when you're using a crossbow setup, this is your go-to shield. Before you can afford the Twisted Buckler, the Odium Ward is a solid option. Way cheaper than the Buckler and still a great shield option. Okay, so you're in the big leagues now. This is where your gear starts costing more than a lot of players' entire banks. The Bowfa requires 80 range and 70 agility. It's essentially a supercharged crystal bow. You must wear the crystal armor with it, the crystal helm, body and legs. Each piece gives bonuses, and the full set gives plus 30% accuracy and plus 15% damage. The Bowfa attacks at a 4-tick pace on rapid and can be corrupted with 2000 crystal shards, meaning it will never degrade. The entire setup costs around 200 mil, but the DPS is comparable to the Twisted Bow in many situations. This is the range setup for most mid to high level PVM. Should you get a Bowfa or save for a T-Bow? My take is the Bowfa is extremely versatile and is 200 mil compared to being over 1 billion GP like the Twisted Bow. I'd say don't sell everything for a T-Bow rebuild unless you're specifically farming T-Bow optimal content. Masori armor requires 80 range to equip. The basic unfortified version requires 30 defense, while the fortified version requires 80. The unfortified armor gives the best defensive stats in the game for range. The The fortified version adds prayer bonus and much better defensive stats, but costs way more since you need the Armadyl armor to fortify it. Each piece gives best in slot range accuracy and range strength for its slot. The full set is what you'll wear for endgame ranging when you're not using crystal armor with the Bowfa. The Zaryte Vambraces require 80 range and 45 defense. They give plus 17 range accuracy and plus 2 range strength, making them the only gloves in the game with range strength. The cost is insane, but they're best in slot. Barrows Gloves are still fine if you're switching combat styles, but for pure range DPS these are the best. Pegasian Boots require 75 range and 75 defense. They give slightly better stats than Blessed D'hide boots, but they cost way too much. They are terrible value. The upgrade is minimal, they should pretty much be last on your priority list. The Zaryte Crossbow requires 80 range. It can fire up to dragon bolts and has a passive that increases enchanted bolts special effect damage by 10%. So those ruby bolt specs that normally cap at 100, they hit for 110 with this crossbow. This is essential for high level PVM like Nex, Chambers of Xeric, and anywhere where you need big crossbow damage. Before we talk about the Venator Ring, let's mention the Lightbearer. It doesn't give offensive bonuses, but it makes your special attack energy regenerate twice as fast. If you're using weapons with good special attacks, this is often better DPS than the Archer's Ring imbued. Plus it's way cheaper. The Venator Ring is the best in slot for range. Plus 12 range accuracy and plus 2 range strength. It costs a lot of money though, and that plus 2 range strength often doesn't actually give you an extra max hit. It's the last upgrade you should make for pure range DPS. I thought I'd mention other specialized weapons and things that didn't make the progression. The Venator Bow requires 80 range and attacks on a 4-tick pace on rapid. It uses dragon arrows and has a unique mechanic. When charged with Ancient Essence, which is super cheap, arrows will bounce to nearby enemies in multi-combat areas up to 2 times. This means one arrow can hit 3 targets, or bounce back to the original target twice. This is insane for Slayer tasks where you can stack monsters, the Fight Caves, Inferno, Fortress Colosseum, and any other content with multiple enemies. It's expensive, but if you do a lot of Slayer or multi-combat content, it's worth every coin. The Webweaver Bow is an upgraded crossbow. Both weapons get plus 50% accuracy and plus 50% damage when used in Wilderness on NPCs. This makes them absolutely dominant at Wilderness bosses like Venenatis, Callisto, and Artio. The Webweaver Bow has a special attack that hits 4 times in one attack. Similar to Dragon Claws but for range. If you're farming Wilderness bosses, get the crossbow first, then upgrade it to a Webweaver if you're seriously grinding them. The Sunlight Crossbow requires 66 range and 50 hunter. It's an upgraded hunter's crossbow that attacks at a 3-tick pace. Faster than normal crossbows while dealing heavy range damage. It uses sunlight or moonlight antler bolts. This is basically a faster magic shortbow for Slayer. Not great for bossing but fantastic for Slayer gains. Way cheaper than a blowpipe to use too. The Scorching Bow requires 77 range and gets plus 30% accuracy and plus 30% damage against demonic creatures. It's very good at demon bosses. The special attack increases accuracy by 30% and binds the demon in place for 12 seconds. It's very niche but definitely incredible for that niche. The Dayolt Quiver from the Colosseum is now best in slot for ranging. When uncharged, it's just okay. When charged with Sunfire Splinters, it gives plus 10 range accuracy and plus 1 range strength when using ammo from your ammo slot. This means it doesn't work with blowpipes or crystal bows, but for everything else it's amazing. Void Knight range gear from Pest Control gives plus 10 range accuracy and plus 10 damage, even more with Elite Void. It requires 42 in all combat stats and 22 prayer to purchase. The percentage boost makes it better at higher levels, but by the time you're a high level you usually have better armor anyway. It's still very good at bosses like Vorkarth and has uses in Theatre of Blood. Worth getting eventually, but not as a priority unless you're specifically doing content where it's optimal. Full Armadyl armor requires 70 defense and 70 range. It used to be best in slot before Masori came out. Now it's mainly expensive because you break it down into plates to fortify Masori armor. Still good defensive stats if you need magic defense, but Masori is better for pure DPS. Range can be one of the most expensive combat styles to train and gear for, but it's also one of the most versatile and powerful. Take your time, make smart upgrades, and most importantly, have fun with it. Thank you for watching the video. Be sure to enter the Bond giveaway. Tap the video on screen to see some new money making methods in OSRS. I hope you're having a good day, and until the next one, peace.